have you noticed how you keep giving long after something inside you whispers, "I'm tired"? You give even when your chest tightens, your breath shakes, your body feels quietly drained, as if you're pouring from a cup that has been empty for years. And still, you repeat the same words. "It's okay, I don't mind, I can handle it." You want peace. You want connection, even if it means shrinking a little more each time. But here's the truth. Every time you smile through pain, every time you say yes while your heart says no, a small part of you collapses. And beneath all the pleasing, the enduring, the bending, lives a fear you rarely admit. If I stop giving, they will leave. Maybe you learned this in childhood. Maybe it followed you into every relationship. Maybe you believed love only comes when you are useful, agreeable, selfless. And if you're honest, there are moments when this question echoes inside you. If I stop being the giver, will anyone choose me? It's painful. Not because you don't know the answer, but because you're afraid to face it. So you keep giving, keeping everyone comfortable at the cost of yourself. This is where our story begins. Because the real issue is not what you give, but why you feel you must. Here is the first truth. Overgiving is not kindness. It's survival. You don't give because you have too much. You give because you're afraid of what might happen if you stop. You give to keep peace, to avoid disappointment, to silence the fear of distance. You give because you learned that people stay longer when you are useful, agreeable, easy. This isn't generosity. It's fear dressed as love. Your nervous system protecting you from loss, even at the cost of losing yourself. What this really means is simple. You don't give from fullness. You give from fear. Fear of rejection, fear of withdrawal, fear of being forgotten the moment you stop being available. Your giving is not a gift. It's a shield held by the inner child who still believes that saying no will make love disappear. And your body knows it. The tight chest, the sinking stomach, the shallow breath every time you betray yourself to keep someone close. And here's the part no one ever sees. People call you kind, selfless, so giving. But they don't see the cost. The overthinking, the pressure, the nights replaying every word to make sure you didn't upset anyone. You're not giving to be noble. You're giving because somewhere deep inside, you believe you must earn your place, earn safety, earn acceptance, earn love. When kindness becomes currency, it stops being kindness. It becomes a quiet plea. Please don't leave. I'll give everything. Just stay. Here is the second truth. Your body has been carrying an emotional hunger that no amount of giving has ever filled. This hunger didn't begin in adulthood. It began in childhood, when you learned that affection must be earned and being good was the only way to stay safe or seen. That child still lives in your chest, waiting to be noticed, hoping that if you give enough, someone will choose you, hold you, stay with you. But no amount of giving heals a wound that needed love, not sacrifice. You can feel this hunger in your body, the tight chest when someone pulls away, the knot in your stomach when you fear disappointment. the heaviness when you give endlessly and no one asks if you're okay. This isn't random pain, it's stored memory. The memory of silenced needs, the memory of functioning without receiving, the memory of carrying others because no one carried you. Your body remembers every moment you felt unseen, and now it reacts to the smallest distance as if everything might collapse. This hunger is why you overgive. Not because you want to, but because your nervous system is still searching for the love it never received. It's why you chase validation, why you panic at withdrawal, why you stay in places where your heart is starving, but your fear keeps you there. Even when people take advantage, part of you clings. Not because they treat you well, but because they temporarily quiet that old ache. You're not giving love. You're trying not to lose it. And until this hunger is seen, you will keep pouring yourself out, hoping someone will finally pour back. Here is the third truth. Energetically, overgivers attract takers. Not because of fate or bad luck, but because fear pulls in those who are not afraid of losing you. When you fear disappointment, you attract people who don't care if they disappoint you. When your worth depends on giving, you attract those who take without thinking. They're not evil. Your energy simply says, I'll carry it, I'll adjust, I'll stay. To a taker, that feels like permission. Relationships balance themselves predictably. One gives more, the other gives less. One tries harder, the other relaxes. One fears losing the relationship, the other assumes you'll never leave. Where there's fear, someone benefits. Where there's no boundary, someone crosses it. Where there's self-abandonment, someone allows it. Takers don't choose you because they love deeply. They choose you because you make things easy. You're not chosen for who you are, but for how much you give. This is why the pattern feels so familiar. The more you give, the more they take. The more you shrink, the more their needs grow. The more you bend, the more they lean. Not because you deserve less, but because your energy keeps saying, I won't leave, just don't abandon me. People who are avoidant, hungry, or self-centered gravitate toward that energy. They don't see your exhaustion, they see your capacity. And this is how overgivers end up unseen, unheard, and unheld from the very beginning. The truth number 4 is that overgiving doesn't destroy you suddenly. It erodes you quietly. Every time you smile through pain, every time you swallow your needs, every time you choose someone else's comfort over your own truth, you lose a small piece of yourself. A preference, a boundary, a desire, a voice. You call it stress or exhaustion, but it's not life wearing you down. It's the slow disappearance of the you inside you. Over time, you lose touch with who you really are. You forget what you want, what you feel, what brings you joy. Your life becomes centered around other people's moods and needs. The real you, your opinions, dreams, truth, gets buried under layers of pleasing and enduring. People praise you for being patient and understanding, but inside you feel like a ghost, present but not alive, existing but not expressed. You forget who you were before you became what everyone needed, and then one day, in exhaustion or heartbreak, you realize you've been missing from your own life. You became the caretaker, the giver, the strong one, but not the person you came here to be. Your inner self feels distant, like a memory you can't quite reach. You see all the places where your light dimmed so others could shine. You didn't mean to lose yourself. You were just trying to be loved. But in saving everyone else, you abandoned the one person you cannot afford to lose: yourself. And here is the insight that no one ever told you. As you hear all this, you may feel something shifting, a sense that your pain didn't appear randomly. Because overgiving is not the beginning. It is the result of something much deeper, something older, carried long before you knew what boundaries were, long before you understood relationships, long before you knew the cost of keeping people close. And this is where the real truth appears. You don't overgive because you are good. You overgive because you are afraid. Not afraid of losing people. That was only the surface. This fear goes deeper. The fear that without giving, you're not enough. The fear your value disappears when you stop being useful. The fear you'll be forgotten the moment you stop carrying everything. This fear began in childhood, when you learned affection must be earned and love has conditions. You didn't learn to receive love, you learned to perform for it, to deserve it, to earn your place by pleasing and holding everything together. This is why you overgive, not to nurture others, but to feel safe inside yourself. You're not afraid they'll leave. You're afraid you won't be worth staying for unless you give more. So you tolerate too much, bend too far, and say, "I don't mind," even when your whole body does. You don't give from love. You give from fear. Fear of invisibility. Fear of being unchosen. Fear of not being enough. Seeing this hurts. But it is the beginning of freedom. Because once you see the fear lives inside you, you finally know where healing begins. Here are the sixth truth. You are taught your whole life. Giving brings blessings. Give and you shall receive. Give and create good karma. And because your heart is good, you believed it. You lived by it. You built your identity around it, but no one told you the truth that matters. Not all giving brings blessings. Some giving drains you. Some wounds you. Some binds you to people you were never meant to stay with. Giving is not holy when your heart trembles with fear. It is not blessed when it costs you yourself. Here is what no one taught you. Giving from fear creates suffering. Giving to keep someone creates bondage. Giving to be loved creates heartbreak. Giving to feel worthy creates exhaustion. That isn't generosity, it's emotional bargaining. I give so you won't leave. I give so I won't feel worthless. Fear-based giving doesn't create blessings. It creates patterns, dependency, self-abandonment. And the universe does not reward the giving that comes from fear, because that isn't giving. It's pleading for love you believe you must earn. And here is the hardest truth. The more you give from fear, the more you lose. You lose boundaries. You lose self-worth. You lose emotional safety. You lose pieces of yourself, one quiet sacrifice at a time. And eventually, you lose the very love you were trying so hard to keep. Not because you didn't give enough, but because fear-based giving collapses under its own weight. Blessings only come from giving that flows from wholeness, not hunger. From giving that honors you, not erases you. Here is the seventh truth. Only giving from inner freedom creates blessings. Blessings don't come from self-erasure or drowning yourself to keep others afloat. They come from a heart that gives because it is full, not starving. When giving comes from freedom, there is no fear, no bargaining, no tension in your chest. It's not performance, not obligation, just a natural overflow of a heart that feels grounded and whole. That kind of giving creates blessings effortlessly, because it carries no wounds inside it. Giving from freedom feels entirely different. Gentle, spacious, clean. You don't give to be chosen. You give because you already are enough. You don't give to avoid loneliness. You give because love flows through you. You don't give to keep someone. You give because nothing inside you is begging to be seen. And the universe responds not to the action, but to the energy behind it. Fear-based giving creates loops of need. Free giving creates cycles of abundance. Giving from fullness expands you. The most liberating part is this. When you give from inner freedom, you stop attracting takers. People who drain you no longer feel pulled toward you. Your energy is no longer desperate or afraid. People who love authentically move closer because your presence feels clear and steady. For the first time, you understand. Giving isn't about earning love or preventing abandonment or proving your worth. Real giving is born from freedom, from knowing your value, your limits, and your right to exist without disappearing. This is the giving that brings blessings to you and everyone around you. And the moment you recognize this, a quiet opening appears. The beginning of the shift you've been waiting for. There is a quiet moment when everything suddenly clicks. When you realize your overgiving was never generosity, but fear. Not love, but longing. Not goodness, but survival. And when this truth lands, something shifts inside you. Softly, like a locked door opening. Because once you see your giving was driven by fear, you can no longer pretend it was kindness. Once you see you are trying to buy connection, you can't keep calling it love. This seeing is the beginning of your freedom. Patterns don't break because you fight them. They break because you see them. Overgiving loosens its grip the moment you recognize its root. You start catching yourself right before another self-betrayal. And instead of collapsing into habit, you pause. You feel your chest tighten, your stomach drop, the old fear rising. Will they leave if I say no? But this time, you don't rush to please, because something in you finally whispers, this isn't love, it's fear trying to control me. And in that pause, the pattern begins to unravel. The more you see it, the weaker it becomes. You notice when you give to be chosen, to feel safe, to avoid discomfort, to earn worth you already have. With each recognition, the old identity built on pleasing starts to fall away. Not through force, but because the illusion loses power once exposed. Healing begins here, in seeing clearly, seeing the wound, seeing the fear, seeing the pattern, seeing the truth. Because once the invisible becomes visible, a new way of living finally opens before you. The door that leads to Prajna. There is a kind of truth that doesn't come from effort or discipline, It comes from seeing. Across centuries, this clear seeing is called prajna. Not knowledge, not information, not thinking your way out of pain. Prajna is the natural wisdom that appears the moment you see things exactly as they are. Without fear, without stories, without old wounds speaking for you. It doesn't judge, it simply reveals. And the moment prajna appears, overgiving begins to loosen on its own. With prajna, you don't force anything. You simply see, this giving is fear. This yes is a self-betrayal. This relationship is one-sided. This person takes because I allow it. And when you see clearly, the pattern can't continue the same way. Not because you fight it, but because awareness exposes what was hidden. Awareness dissolves, overgiving the way sunlight dissolves darkness. Quietly, naturally, effortlessly. You cannot unsee what you have seen. And that seeing changes every choice you make. This is the power of prajna. It doesn't make you harder, it makes you clearer. You don't become cold, you become grounded. You don't become selfish, you become self-honoring. You don't stop giving, you stop giving from pain. And from this clarity, your energy shifts. People who drain you no longer feel safe near you. People who love deeply begin to meet you at your depth. Because prajna returns you to the truth you forgot. You don't need to lose yourself to be loved. You don't need to overgive to be chosen. You don't need to perform to be enough. When awareness is present, love becomes clean again. And so do you. When awareness becomes your ground, your relationships cannot stay the same. People who relied on your silence feel the shift first. Those who are comfortable with you carrying everything notice you're no longer bending. Not because you're angry, but because awareness naturally changes how you show up. You speak a little more honestly. You pause before saying yes. You stop apologizing for having limits. And this small shift creates a ripple in every direction, one that every relationship must respond to. Some people will rise to meet you, softening, adjusting, giving more, not from pressure, but because your clarity awakens theirs. Others will become uncomfortable, try to pull you back to the old dynamic, not out of malice, but because they benefited from the version of you who never said no. And a few will quietly fade away, not as a failure, but as alignment. Awareness doesn't break relationships. It reveals them, showing which ones are real, which are wounded, and which were never love. This shift may feel strange, lighter, yet unfamiliar. You may wonder why some respect you more while others distance themselves. But this is the nature of awareness. It purifies your field. It draws in those who can meet you and releases those who are held in place by your fear, your giving, and your self-abandonment. You stop attracting takers because you no longer give from desperation. You stop tolerating disrespect because clarity makes denial impossible. These shifts aren't the end of love. They're the beginning of clean, mutual, grounded love where you finally have space to exist as yourself. There is an illusion carried by every overgiver. To be loved, I must earn it. It formed slowly. In moments your needs were ignored, your feelings dismissed, and affection depended on behavior. So you learned to perform, to shrink, to please, until you confused love with effort and value with sacrifice. You believed the more you gave, the safer you were. But Prajna, the quiet clarity within, shows you something different. Prajna reveals that real love has never required your suffering. It doesn't ask for perfection, self-erasure, or endless giving to prove worth. Real love sees you before you earn anything. It meets you in your truth, not in your performance. And when this clarity rises, you finally see the illusion for what it is, a wound, not reality. Prajna whispers, "You were worthy before you ever gave anything." And with that, the desperation to be chosen begins to loosen. From this clarity, something new emerges. Love does not need to be earned. Love is something you allow. When you stop performing, love becomes cleaner, steadier, far more real than anything you held together with effort. Those who truly care don't need you exhausted, silent, or perfect. They simply need you. The real you, the you who doesn't shrink. Prajna cuts through the illusion that love is rewarded through suffering and brings you back to the truth. You have always been enough, even when you gave nothing at all. Healing doesn't begin when you fix relationships or set perfect boundaries. Healing begins the moment you return to the part of you you abandoned to keep others comfortable. The tired part, the frightened part, the part that kept giving even when it was empty, the part that whispered, "Please stop," but you couldn't hear it. This is the part of you that needs you now. Not your strength, but your presence. Before you return to anyone else, you must return to yourself. So pause. Place a hand on your chest. Feel your breath, your tension, your ache, the exhaustion of a heart that gave to everyone but itself. And whisper softly, not as a mantra, but as a promise. "I'm here. I won't abandon you again." Let these words reach the places that once believed love must be earned, because overgiving began the moment you walked away from yourself. And healing begins the moment you walk back. Returning to yourself is not selfish. It is wholeness. It means hearing your no, honoring your limits, protecting the tenderness inside you. As you return, your heart refills. Your breath deepens, your boundaries become natural. Not from fear, but from self-respect. And slowly you realize, the love you kept pouring outward was always meant to begin within. This isn't the end of healing. It is the doorway. When you return to yourself, you finally learn to love without losing yourself. Most people think boundaries are walls, hard, sharp, defensive. But real boundaries are soft, not to create distance, but clarity, not to punish, but to protect, not to control others, but to honor yourself. Soft boundaries sound like, "I care, but I can't right now. I want to help, but I need rest. This doesn't feel right for me." Gentle, yet firm. Compassionate, yet clear. Boundaries aren't a weapon. They're how you say, "My heart matters too." Soft boundaries are not rejection. They are refusing to reject yourself. You stop stretching past capacity to avoid discomfort. You stop saying yes at the cost of your own peace. You stop sacrificing yourself to maintain lopsided connections. Soft boundaries don't break relationships, they reveal them. Those who truly care will adjust. Those who valued your silence will resist. Not because your boundary is wrong, but because your clarity removes an old advantage. And that revelation is a gift. Soft boundaries let you stay open without being overwhelmed. They let you love without losing yourself. They let you give without collapsing. A soft boundary says, I choose myself, and I still choose to love you, but not at the cost of my soul. This is strength without hardness, compassion without self-erasure. And slowly you feel something new, safety inside yourself. Because protecting your heart is not selfish, it is sacred, and it is the root of every healthy relationship ahead. For overgivers, receiving feels unfamiliar, almost unsafe. You've been the strong one, the steady one, the one who holds everyone else. You learn to open outward, but stay closed inward. You know how to comfort, but not how to be comforted. You know how to hold others, but not how to let someone hold you. But healing is not complete until you learn to receive. Receiving is not weakness, it is allowing yourself to be human, supported, loved without earning it. Receiving means you stop carrying everything alone. You allow rest without guilt, comfort without resistance, love without suspicion. You let the world flow toward you, not just through you. When kindness comes, you don't shrink or push it away or rush to give back. You breathe, you soften, you let it land. Receiving is trust. The belief that you deserve to be held, not just to hold everyone else. It reminds your heart that love must move both ways. Slowly, everything shifts. Relationships become more balanced, your heart less tired, your boundaries less fragile, because you are no longer pouring from emptiness and calling it love. By receiving, you teach others how to show up for you. You teach your inner child that love is shared, not earned. You were never meant to give alone. There is healing in being held. There is freedom in letting love reach you. Receiving is not the end of giving. It is what makes love whole. You don't have to give until you disappear. You don't have to perform to be chosen. You don't have to shrink to be loved. You carried everyone's weight for so long that you forgot you were never meant to live this way. But now you've seen the patterns, the fear, the truth. And once truth is seen, your heart begins to return to its natural state, where love flows cleanly, where giving comes from fullness, and where you finally have room to exist as yourself. You're not here to disappear inside others. You are here to come home to you. If this space brought you even one breath of truth or stillness, you're welcome to like the video and subscribe to the channel. A small act that helps this light continue to ripple outward.